The journey of walking alone with God every day begins in the quiet chambers of the heart before the world has a chance to intrude with its demands and distractions. It starts with the realization that solitude is not a state of lack, but a state of divine abundance. In the early hours of the dawn, when the air is still and the mind is free from the clutter of yesterday's worries, a sacred space is created. This is where the soul learns to breathe. To walk with the Creator, one must first learn to sit in silence, stripping away the masks we wear for society. It is in this profound stillness that the static of the modern world fades, allowing the subtle whisper of the divine to become the primary frequency of our lives. This preparation of the heart is not a one-time event, but a daily decision to prioritize the eternal over the temporary. By dedicating the first fruits of our thoughts to God, we set a spiritual compass that governs every step we take thereafter. It is an invitation to intimacy, where we acknowledge that being alone is the only way to truly realize we are never actually alone. As the day unfolds and the rhythm of the walk moves from the sanctuary into the marketplace, the challenge becomes one of integration. Walking with God is not a practice reserved for the mountaintop. It is a grace that must be lived out in the valleys of routine. The movement of the soul continues through the rush of traffic, the pressure of deadlines, and the mundane nature of daily chores. This part of the journey is about practicing the presence of the divine in the ordinary. Every task, no matter how small, becomes an opportunity for communion. When we work with the awareness that an invisible hand is guiding us, the heavy burden of self-reliance begins to lift. We learn to use our breath as a constant prayer, a tether that keeps us connected to the source of peace even when the world around us is in chaos. Interruptions are no longer seen as obstacles, but as divine appointments, and setbacks become lessons in patience and trust. This stage of the walk transforms our character, turning our daily labor into a living sacrifice of love and our interactions with others into reflections of divine kindness. The endurance of this walk is tested most severely when the path enters the shadows of the dark valleys. There are seasons in every spiritual journey where the feelings of closeness vanish and the horizon seems empty. It is here that walking with God matures from an emotional experience into a profound act of faith. In these moments of spiritual dryness, we learn that God's presence is a reality that does not depend on our perceptions or our moods. We continue to walk not because we see the light, but because we know the one who is the light. This persistence creates a strength that cannot be shaken by the storms of life. It is the honesty of crying out in the dark that builds a deeper, more resilient intimacy than the easy songs of the morning. As the day draws to a close, the walk concludes with a reflection on the path traveled, identifying the hidden mercies that were scattered along the way. We realize that the transformation of the self is the ultimate goal, and that every step taken in faith has brought us closer to the image of the divine. The walk never truly ends. It simply transitions into a rest that prepares us to rise and walk again with renewed purpose and an unwavering heart. The essence of this spiritual walk is found in the deep, unhurried layers of the soul where the ego finally surrenders to the infinite. To expand on the beginning of this journey, one must understand that the initial steps are often the heaviest because they require us to shed the weight of our own self-importance. We carry so many identities, our jobs, our titles, our roles in the lives of others. But walking alone with the divine requires us to stand as we truly are without any ornaments. This stripping away is not a punishment but a liberation. It is the process of becoming small enough to enter the narrow gate of true peace. When you wake up and refuse to immediately engage with the digital noise of the world, you are making a radical statement that your soul belongs to its maker and not to the marketplace. This silence is a fertile soil where the seeds of wisdom are planted. It is not merely the absence of sound, but the presence of a listening heart that is ready to be molded. As you sit in that quiet space, you begin to realize that the Creator is not a distant judge, but a companion who has been waiting for you to stop running. This realization changes your posture from one of fear to one of absolute trust, turning your solitude into a sanctuary where the broken pieces of your spirit begin to mend under a gaze of unconditional love. As you carry this internal sanctuary into the heat of the day, the walk becomes an exercise in spiritual endurance. The true test of your connection is found in how you respond to the person who frustrates you or the news that frightens you. This is where the practice of the presence becomes a shield. You begin to see that there is a hidden symmetry in all things, a divine order that persists even when the surface of life seems chaotic. When the pressure of life mounts, instead of reacting with the old patterns of anger or anxiety, you learn to retreat into that inner chamber of grace that you built in the morning. This is the secret of the saints and the sages. They did not escape the world. They walked through it with a different spirit. You start to view your work, not as a means to an end, but as a partnership with the divine. Every word you speak and every decision you make becomes a thread in a larger tapestry. This awareness brings a profound sense of dignity to the most menial tasks. You are no longer just surviving the day, you are hallowing it. The walk is steady and rhythmic, a constant exchange of your weakness for his strength, your confusion for his clarity. It is a movement that doesn't hurry but never stops, guided by a peace that passes all understanding. The final stretch of the walk, the part that leads into the deep night, is where the soul finds its ultimate transformation. This is the stage of the journey where the physical eyes grow dim so that the spiritual eyes can see. When the world falls silent again at the end of the day, you find that you are not the same person who started the journey at dawn. The walk has worn away the rough edges of your pride and softened the hardness of your heart. In the shadows, you discover that God is often closest when he is most silent. This is the mystery of the dark night. It is a time of purging where the soul is prepared for a higher level of union. You learn to lean into the mystery rather than demanding answers. This endurance creates a legacy of peace that others can feel when they are near you. Your life becomes a living testimony to the fact that it is possible to be in the world but not of it. As you close your eyes at night, the walk does not cease. It continues in the subconscious, a bridge of faith that carries you into the next day. You rest in the absolute certainty that the one who walked with you through the sunshine and the rain will be there to greet you at the next sunrise, and that every mile of the journey has been worth the effort of the soul. The culmination of this daily walk is the realization that the destination was never a place but a person. As the journey comes full circle, you understand that every moment spent in intentional solitude was an investment in an eternal bond that the world can neither give nor take away. The walk concludes not with a sense of finishing a task, but with a profound sense of belonging. You have learned that to walk with God is to move in a state of constant homecoming. The anxieties that once felt like mountains have become like dust beneath your feet, and the fears that once paralyzed you have been dissolved by a love that is as steady as the rising sun. You find that your soul has grown wider, capable of holding more joy, more compassion, and more silence. The shadows of the evening do not bring a sense of ending, but a sense of profound security, knowing that the shepherd of your soul does not slumber. In these final steps of the day, there is a deep and resonant gratitude for the trials as much as the triumphs. You see clearly now that the difficult terrains were where your grip on the divine grew tightest. The walk has taught you that strength is found in surrender and that the most powerful path forward is often found on your knees. This is the ultimate victory of the spiritual life, to reach the end of the day and find that your heart is more at peace than when the day began. You are ready to rest, not because the world is perfect, but because you have walked with the one who is perfect. The path is now etched into your spirit, making the walk easier with each passing day. As you slip into the quiet of the night, you carry with you the whispered promise that the walk will continue, unfolding into an eternity of discovery, where every step is a new beginning in the presence of the infinite.